So there have been some interesting developments this afternoon. Had a fantastic, people will notice Charles is not here. I had a fantastically exciting thing prepared. And there's been a succession, I mean, you hear this guy talking in the background, there's like a monster truck rally happening or something that wasn't happening before. I started here because we're right outside Scientology. As the name suggests, I'm not in New York. And I wanted, Charles was going to be here with me, you know, as a video inset like we've done before. Miami's Nice and a couple of other videos that we've done like that, but we had a last-minute technical problem with Charles and he wasn't able to connect, which is unfortunate because we were super ready. And I wanted him to, and now it's just literally a second before I came on. I've been standing there working out the technical stuff with Charles, and now suddenly this guy starts carnival barking, but I am in Detroit. A lot of people have said, oh, Jason, you got to get out of New York. It's too crazy, too violent, and, you know, wackos all over the place. That's true. But I don't think Detroit is what people had in mind. Look at this. Third, Fifth Bank. Oh, Fifth Third Bank. Sorry. I was looking at the 5/3. I don't know. I don't understand what that's all about. Maybe there's 14 other banks somewhere that could explain something to us. But yeah, I'm in Detroit, and it was going to be nice to kind of walk around here. There's a lot of bizarre stuff that I wanted to show Charles and speak with him about, and we'll show it to everybody here. There's obviously a ton going on. Letitia James just announced that she's bringing a fraud case against Donald Trump and his sons and his daughter and everybody. That's remarkable. Look, bees pollinating. I mean, that's absolutely crazy. She's doing that while the Clintons are having their big event in New York. Suddenly they're interested in fraud. But we're not going to talk too much about New York. I want to talk more about Detroit. I'm sort of at a loss because it was until moments ago, this was supposed to be a regular Charles Ortel is closing in, and we were going to close in here on Detroit. But now it's just me yapping at you. People who know Detroit will know I know virtually nothing about Detroit. Came here to talk to some people about a clerk. Interesting conversation, but that's for another show. This is a municipal center. There's a lot of very odd sculptures and stuff around here. And you know, we've got the Scientology place there. Detroit strikes me as a city, it's maybe kind of like DC in its Masonic aspects. And then this, I think, is like General Motors headquarters over there. There's a hotel in there. Well, I'll come back over here and check out what's going on. But, you know, the other thing is, so Letitia James, right, Putin had his whole speech where he basically said, hey, listen, don't test me. Did people listen to that? If you go to RT, you can hear the actual Putin speech. Sorry to disappoint folks who are turning in to not see Charles, but yeah, Detroit, welcome everybody. Masonic bees. I don't know, maybe. The Masonic stuff is more the buildings. And I was walking up here, there was a truck that I wanted to show everybody. I hope it's still there. It might not be. But it said election services, and I guess they're driving around, you know, doing some service to the election. Yeah, it says Marriott up there, so there's maybe it's mostly a hotel, but there's some GM aspect to that. I don't know. Yeah, people will know Detroit way better than me. maybe that election truck is gone. Yeah, so Putin late last night, or I guess this morning in Russia, whatever it was, last night in Russia, late this morning here, Putin made a speech overnight where he said he's calling up an additional, he said 1% or something near 1%, but it's going to be 300,000 military people. How big is the Russian army? It sounds maybe more like 10%. I don't know, but the point is, he seemed to be indicating that he's moving from a special military operation more towards an actual war. Yeah, this police car here there was an election truck with this, unless that's it over there. No, that's not it. It was right over here. It was parked on the sidewalk. And I remember seeing this and thinking that must be a police car or something because it had some lights. Well, yeah, so there was an election truck here. Too bad I missed that. That was interesting. But Motor City, Detroit. Yeah. So Tish James now is suing the Trumps. I don't understand that. Why, if it's fraud, why? And this is what I wanted to ask Charles. We'll have to talk about it on Sunday. But why is the state of New York suing them if they've committed fraud? Isn't that a crime? Why not just charge them with a crime? I read the thing, it said she's suing them. I didn't get to see the Letitia James press conference, but I mean, it's just absurd, the selective prosecution of Trump, the number of people who are committing fraud that they say nothing to. It's unbelievable. Will she sue the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences? I don't know. I don't think so. I think they're just taking action against whoever they want, and who they want is Trump. Actually, it's anybody who would help Trump. You see, I've thought for a long time all this legal stuff that's coming against me, it's emanating from the same place. It's anybody who wants to help fight against, you know, the globalist New World Order agenda. Wow, these people are blowing through the lights here. Now, see, this isn't New York, so I don't really know what the rules are, but I think running me over is probably not something you're supposed to do. So this reminds me of DC a little bit. This thing here is where was the name of it? There's George Washington, so that made me think of Masons. But this thing is the Old Mariners Church. Kind of interesting, right? I don't know if this is still a functioning church. It looks like it. It's got air conditioning installed and it looks very well maintained. American, right. And the other thing I wanted to do was, I heard there's a big crisis at the border, so I came to check it out. Right? You ever wonder why? Excuse me, gentlemen, you've heard about the crisis at the border, right? Have you seen a crisis at the border here? Nope. No crisis, right? Wow. Those guys do not get a joke. Right, so, I mean, again, what is this Old Mariners Church? George Washington there. I guess we could read about it. Topographical engineers. When Michigan became a state in 1837, the Detroit office of the U.S. Topographical Engineers was headquartered on this site. Topographical engineers helped transform Michigan from a wilderness into a prosperous state. Well, unfortunately, now it's a bit of an industrial wasteland. They also played a vital role in Great Lakes navigation before the Civil War. First appointed in 1813, the engineers surveyed land, canals. Well, people can read that, but this is a historic site. So this is the Mariners Church, definitely very cool, built in 1842. That sign looks perhaps new. But see, then that Mariners Church symbol, I feel like there's a lot of symbology around here. And then we can also check out the border crisis here. That doesn't seem to be anybody trying to escape from Canada, although they could definitely seek political asylum with Justin Trudeau basically slamming everybody's rights over there in Canada. Pretty bad. So yeah, this is Detroit, Motor City. I don't know if people want to come visit, but we got Canada right over there. Now wait a minute, did the picture just freeze? What's going on? There we go. Squirrels. But that, I'm pretty sure that's Canada because this is the Ontario. We're looking at Canada right there, right? That's Canada right there, right? Yeah, so there it says, we stand united. No border crisis here. There's barely anybody around, right? And then this arm is interesting too. I'm not sure whose arm that is, but it has a progressive flag. Somehow I feel like that is not what the people who erected that statue necessarily had in mind. And I'm not sure what's going on with the tractor pull or the monster truck race that they have going on over here, but we'll check it out. So we'll see what's going to happen to Trump. They are stacking up as much crap on him as they possibly can to try to prevent him to run for president. It's funny because do people, I don't know if I spoke about this. I don't want to get into too much of this stuff because that's what they want. It causes a reaction. But just as they're ramping up all this activity against Trump, they're ramping up activity against me. Oh, wow, we're getting bad signal, it looks like. I hope the show is going all right. And I hope that people who want to help me fight social engineers, lawfare, and all the nonsense. No Weed World trucks. Actually, weed is legal here. Every ad on the highway was for weed. So it's a little bit more established than it is in New York. Frank is saying videos showing Russia pulling men off the streets in rowing them for war. I would really wonder what the source of those videos are, because it seems to me that the greatest success that Ukraine is having right now is in a psychological war, a social engineering war, an IT army war, and I think the same idiots that are trying to thwart me are involved with that. We're going to have to find out more about that. If you don't know about the Ukraine IT army, I really encourage you to Google that. There's been a lot of writing about it recently. And what was his name? Stefan Sosanto, who is a PhD with a think tank. Do you know what this arm is all about? Whose arm is it? Joe Louis? Ah. Are you from Detroit?
I'm from Monroe. I live up this way now.
You've heard about the border crisis, right? Looks okay. That's a joke.
Oh. Yeah, the border crisis.
What do you think?
Migrants.
What do you think about sending those migrants around? They're saying they're going to now take legal action against Ron DeSantis and the people that were sending them to Martha's Vineyard. Does that sound like a crime if somebody gave you a ride on a private jet to an island? Would you sue?
I'm not going to be able.
All right, take it easy. Well, some people don't like to be engaged in conversation. Joe Louis's fist. All right. That's cool. I guess he must be a Detroit. I didn't realize he was from Detroit. Joe Louis, of course, famous boxer. So then we got Hart Plaza. That's got the monster truck rally. There's so much going on over here. And what is this giant Stargate-like disc? I guess we'll have to check this out. I'm going to be careful getting into conversation. See, Detroit is not New York. And I'm not going to tell people what to do here because I don't know the rules. I don't know if you are or aren't allowed to ride a bicycle on a sidewalk or skateboard. I mean, it seems like you wouldn't be. Detroit welcomes you here. So we'll check it out. Now, wait a minute. So it says, labor's legacy transcending. What is this thing supposed to be? And how do you get into the monster truck rally? Maybe right here. Is it free to enter? Thanks. So it seems like people in Detroit do not find the joke about the border as funny as I did. What is this? hospitality. And what do we gotta, I gotta go scan or something? Oh, this is gonna set off a metal detector. Am I not allowed to bring this stuff in? Oh, it didn't even do it. Oh, it's a real good metal detector. I'm not sure what it's detecting, but I'm pretty sure a lot of this stuff is made of metal. So, okay. Wow, $100,000 or a Dodge Ram. I was under the impression that something was going on in here, but maybe you're just looking at monster trucks. Whoa, that's a monster truck. I'm surprised they can even make those wheels turn. I think this probably has very little to do with an actual car. It's got to work totally differently. Well, this is appropriate for Motor City. I don't know what this thing is. Monster truck throwdown. Holy crap, yeah, they're gonna smash cars. Well, I gotta say, I have only ever been to one actual monster truck car crushing incident. Are you guys gonna actually drive these over cars or do a monster truck event?
Car crush at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock,
Yeah,
all right.
7 o'clock tonight.
Thanks, I think I'm gonna miss that. But it is kind of, I mean, this is super, for people who are watching outside of the United States, I don't think it gets much more America than the monster truck rally and the crushing of cars. Oh, look at that. There's the engine. It's really something. So we did a commercial for the Mini Cooper company in 3D with, what the hell was that thing called? Iron Bandit, I think. And it was a monster truck. It didn't crush the Minis, it jumped the Minis. It jumped like 5 Minis or something like that. I think this video is going to get super monetized, so if you like it, please become a sponsor on subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. This is actually a good place for me to be. There's a whole lot of business going on here. I did not realize this would be here. Oh yeah, this is just monetized out the wazoo with every song going there. You know, it's interesting. I saw some YouTube videos that were saying things about the election. The one that already passed. Oh, we got a barbecue going here. Anyway, I saw a video that was just straight talking all about the exact kind of stuff that the Jason Goodman YouTube channel got kicked off of YouTube for. So what's up with that? Why are those channels allowed to talk about it, but I get kicked off right away? The other thing is, you know, we've been seeing a lot of testimony from, you know, executives from these social media companies. Josh Hawley has been really lacing into these guys and gals, and it seems like most of these companies are not engaged in very good security or governance. It seems quite easy for somebody to form a relationship with a relatively low-level employee who could get into accounts and wreak all kinds of havoc if they were so inclined to do that. And I wonder if something like that isn't going on at YouTube. They've been focusing very much on the Disinformation Governance Board and its communications with Twitter. So now I guess it's gambling is legal in Canada, perhaps, because we see Caesar's Palace over there. I guess I should know that. If it is, why won't they let you go down here? But you can see the Justin Trudeau flag over there. Can we see it? verifiably Canada. So, welcome to Canada. Can't see Russia from here. But yeah, Putin threw down in that press conference. He basically said that they're calling up 300,000. I would want to verify that video. I don't think that they need to go pull people off the streets and stick them into the army. I think that's what Ukraine wants them to be doing. I'm getting a little bit sick and tired of Ukraine because they, refusing to adhere to this treaty, refusing to surrender, are going to get more Ukrainian citizens killed and bringing us all closer to the possibility of fully catastrophic war. Putin said, I am not bluffing, when he was talking about, people are throwing around rhetoric about nuclear bombs and missiles. He said, we have a lot of those too. And he basically said what I've been saying all along, that this is a clear effort to destroy Russia, to balkanize it, steal all of its natural resources, turn it into multiple different countries that will then be fighting with each other, create unrest, millions dead, no doubt, and jackasses like Joe Biden and his crackhead son will get rich from the whole thing. And if justice is done, they'll go to jail for the rest of their lives, or, I don't know, maybe treason. Does that give you the death penalty? They do say it's always darkest before the dawn, so maybe that's right now. But there's a lot of criminals that are getting away with some brazen crimes. And Letitia James is interested in suing Trump. The thing said they're suing them. I just don't understand why she doesn't bring criminal charges if they have good evidence of fraud. Vic Morrow says, I am on the S list. Yeah, that's clear. But I don't think it's YouTube's S list. I think that YouTube and Twitter and all of these things, whenever you hear about somebody having some ridiculously poor security, it's very probably because they want someone to be able to get at the data and be able to say, oh, well, that was just carelessness. That wasn't deliberately giving out somebody's geolocation, somebody's whatever data they don't want you to have. Fifth Third Bank, it's giant. And then we have this. This reminds me of that building in Austin that looks like an owl. Alley? I don't know, what is that? These dudes are here for first aid. So that's Hart Plaza, I guess. They welcome us to Detroit. So that's a nice event. Nobody is attending it. All right. So, Tish James, gonna hand it to Trump. It strikes me as the type of thing that probably if you investigate any real estate developer, they're involved in some kind of manipulation of the, I don't know the details of the case. I'm not going to defend Trump. It's entirely possible that what she's saying is true and correct, but it would still raise the question of why are you going after Trump and not the Clinton Foundation? Why are you going after Trump and not the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences? Why are you going after Trump and not any of the myriad nonprofit agencies that Charles and I and others have looked at that are clearly violating the law? Yeah, he said not bluffing, no joke. Not bluffing equals no joke. All right, well, essentially the same thing. He said that Russia's destiny is to, it's very hot actually, surprisingly. It was raining a lot before. But he said it's Russia's destiny to defeat those who think they can rule the world. And that now they're going to do that again. I have to say, I think that what Joe Biden is doing is incredibly irresponsible and dangerous. So there's no crisis at the border here. Let's go down there and see exactly what we got. I think this is I mean, you're supposed to drive. It's a bridge or a tunnel or something, so I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people watching have been to Canada through this thing. I don't know, it's kind of interesting. I don't know of any other, do we have any other bridges to foreign countries? But I mean, nobody's trying to escape Canada and come here. Canada and come here. And you know, Fox News has been showing a lot of different just body cam footage from cops in Texas. Excuse me, officer. We've been hearing a lot about the border crisis. It looks okay, though.
It's very fine.
Looks good here.
Nope, no crisis at all. Nothing to see here.
There you go. Thanks. So he thought it was funny. That's good. But it's not a laughing matter. I mean, I saw body camera footage where they've got Pakistani guys in Texas. And now they're coming out with numbers of all these like known terrorists who are apparently being released and just sent all around the country. I don't know if this is true, but Fox News reported that Venezuela was releasing literally criminals out of jail, and it spoke about how that was done. Cuba did that. That's what Scarface was about. And that apparently permanently changed Miami, according to Fox. I don't know what they meant by that, but there was a lot of crime 80s, 90s in Miami, and that's what we have here now. So, yeah, I wasn't really prepared to do a lot of gabbing without Charles. And I know people there's so much going on that I'm sure people wanted to hear what he had to say about. Let's see what the comments are saying here. Yeah, well, Pam, people should ask Viva Frei why he refused to speak about my Emmys case and why, when he and I had a conversation about Dershowitz coming on my show, he chose to interview Dershowitz and be extremely deferential. I mean, it's obvious why he would choose to interview Dershowitz over me. He's much better known, etc. But the question is, which side of this debate are you on? Do you think Dershowitz was right? They were sort of sycophantic with regard to Dershowitz, didn't really challenge him, didn't want to hear my side of the story. They've been very clear that they don't want to talk about some really serious lawfare issues, but they talk about all kinds of lawsuits. I mean, not just the Amber Heard and whatever. There were beefs with YouTube people that, I mean, again, maybe they were a lot of views YouTube people, but it wasn't really a big legal question. People who have been watching the Counter Lawfare Report on subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth are going to know that there are some extremely unique and not right things happening in my lawsuits. And I'm really disappointed that David Freiheit and Robert Barnes, even though they know about them, I've sent the cases to them, they've chosen to not say a word, not say anything about me challenging Dershowitz, take Dershowitz's side. I just wonder, what's the nature of the relationship with Mike Cernovich there? Are there people who are making the decision to bolster their YouTube career at the expense of, what is this? Let's say something important. At the expense of talking about important stuff. Perhaps it's unfavorable to speak about Jason Goodman's lawsuits because, oh, look who's this, the Detroit police. What might I be doing over here? I don't know. Yeah, but there's so much interesting stuff going on in my lawsuits, illegal stuff. Some of it being done by clerks of the court. You would not believe, allegedly being done by clerks of the court. But you know what? Richard Lurie can sue me if he wants. I'd like that. If I say that he's committed a crime, if it's false, it's defamation per se. But if it's true, he's not going to want to talk about it. Somebody else wanted to talk about it, but I don't want to, we don't want to talk about that right now. There's so much going on between the Ukraine war, I didn't get a chance to hear the Joe Biden press conference or response, I presume that it was. Here, we got a riverboat here. Yeah, Barnes likes Dershowitz, right. And I agree that Barnes is a smart lawyer, but that's a major problem. I did see that Boozy has been fighting with the lawfare guys. I reached out to them. I sent a couple of DMs. Haven't followed up there, but yeah, that wasn't too smart of Boozy. I mean, these guys are very, very confident in their ability to do whatever they want to whoever they want, whomever they want, which is the right one. But they just like doing whatever they want, and they expect no consequences. And so far, they've been doing all right. Now, what do we got here? Gateway to Freedom. Ed Dwight is the sculptor. Until emancipation, Detroit and the Detroit River community served as the gateway to freedom for thousands of African American people escaping enslavement. Detroit was one of the largest terminals for the Underground Railroad. I did not know that. A network of abolitionists aiding enslaved people seeking freedom. Detroit's Underground Railroad code name was Midnight. At first, Michigan was a destination for freedom seekers, but Canada became a safer sanctuary after slavery was abolished there in 1834. Abolished there in 1834. With passage of the Fugitive Slave Act in 1850, many runaways left their homes in Detroit and crossed the river to Canada to remain free. What was the Fugitive Slave Act? There's a lot about slavery that I don't know. Some returned after emancipation in 1863. The successful operation of Detroit's Underground Railroad was due to the effort and cooperation of diverse groups of people, including people of African descent, whites, and North American Indians. The legacy of freedom is a vital part of Detroit and its history. That's cool. I'm kind of sad that Detroit is a little bit, I don't think a lot of people really feel like, oh yeah, I'm gonna move to Detroit. I mean, we've heard forever that it's like falling apart, right? And on the drive over here, like I said, basically every ad was for weed. Everything looks like a factory or a refinery. I mean, America is totally going in the wrong direction. I wonder what would happen if you took all this money that they're spending on bombs and shells and whatever the hell they're doing with it in Ukraine. What if they took all that money and rebuilt Detroit? Or, you know, instead of giving free cell phones and hotel rooms to people from other countries, what if we went and rounded up 3 million homeless people around the United States and put them wherever they're putting these migrants? Why do people from other countries deserve more aid and attention and money than Americans who are hard on their luck or down on their luck? I'm thinking this has got to be a casino, right? Riverboats are usually casinos, I think. I wonder. No, it's closed. You can't go on there. Service entrance, Detroit Princess, cruise with us. Okay, so probably you go on there and it's a party for the night and go out over to the Canada side and gamble. Oy, that's not good. A little feedback from the monster truck rally. Is that a casino? Casino? No, restaurant? Uh-huh. No casino. So there we go. All of my estimates were incorrect. Well, I'm sad that Charles was not able to join. Yeah, obviously I've been driving a bit, so I haven't had a chance to follow up with all that lawfare stuff. I saw Nate the lawyer making beaucoup boozy bucks. Pretty good. Great replacement. What is that? Dilbert is being removed from newspapers because Adams is talking about ESG scores. Introduced a new black character that identifies as white. I'll tell you, Scott Adams is a tough guy to figure out. Big old booze cruise, that's right. You can gamble in Detroit. I didn't know that. Why? Oh, is this closed? Can I go through here? Oh. Okay, I love things that are arbitrarily closed for really no reason. Can I walk straight down there? I would have thought that would be a no, but he said yes. So, yeah, it seems pretty stupid on the part of Mr. Boozy to, I saw he was saying all kinds of things about Nate the lawyer. I didn't know that much about Nate the lawyer. He's an incredibly impressive guy, what he's overcome and everything. But yeah, I gotta get back in touch with those guys and see what exactly is going on with Boozy. 3 casinos in Detroit. I mean, look, you know what? For me personally, I lose money gambling, so I basically don't do it. I used to do it. Never a lot, but like when I was in Vegas, I would play blackjack or poker. You can't win with that. Hi. Wow, a police officer just waved to me. The cops are much nicer in Detroit than New York. I have to say, I was surprised by that. It just shows that the NYPD, whatever reason, they're disgruntled, the DA won't arrest anybody. I mean, look at this. We got crime exploding, and it seems like Letitia James has spent the last several months focused on some insane probe into Donald Trump. That, what's the purpose of it? What are they going to do with that? Wouldn't we get much more money back if we were going after the Clintons and all the tax money they haven't paid with the billions of dollars? I mean, I got to get a better handle on exactly what's going on there with Trump, but I mean, what do people think about all of these huge developments? Yeah, Nate is making bank on boozy bucks. It's boku boozy bucks, doozy dollars, all that. I mean, hey, listen, God bless those guys being monetized. I don't know how. I mean, see, that's a good example. Like, I have never been able to create a YouTube channel that stays monetized for never. I mean, when's the last time anybody saw a super chat on any kind of Crowdsource the Truth show? And I don't think it has anything to do with the lawyers. It's got to do with social engineering and YouTube. And for whatever reason, they're not social engineering those guys. Could it be because they're friends with Dersh? Not all of them, but they've got this law tube thing going on that I don't know very much about. I watch it, I find it interesting. I mean, you know, I was watching Barnes and Freiheit. I first got into touch with David when I had about 50,000 subscribers and he had about 70,000 subscribers, and I invited him on the show. I wanted to talk to him about lawfare and all the crazy stuff that's going on. It seemed right up their alley. He said, no, nah, he's not really dealing with the kind of stuff that I'm dealing with, is what he said. Then a week later, he had Cernovich on. And I said, wait a minute, now you're having Cernovich on. He covers all the same kind of stuff that I cover. And David said, well, yeah, but he's a lawyer. Okay. And then after I embarrassed Dersh, David reached out to me. And we had a little conversation, and then he had Dersh on, and they seemed to love Dersh. What Dersh said was just simply wrong. I don't care who likes him or dislikes him or whatever. I'm just trying to, you know, oh, this says something went wrong. Is it still live? Yeah, it is. YouTube views are fake. I agree with that. So let's not dish on those guys, because I think they mean well. I don't know really any of them, and I've only had very limited communication with David. And everybody's got a lot of considerations. They don't necessarily have all the information that you might have. This is something I do want to encourage people to do. Like, we went into this a little bit with John Kiriakou. If people saw that interview on September 11th, John Kiriakou used to be with the CIA. We got into a lot of stuff that YouTube wouldn't want us to talk about, so you're gonna have to go to subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth to see the John Kiriakou interview. But I wanted to interview John again because our first interview took place in like 2018, and he said a bunch of stuff about 9/11 that I just found completely absurd. And I didn't know him in 2018. It was the first time I had ever met him, so it was easy to just sort of write it off as this guy's a CIA guy and just sort of spreading nonsense about 9/11. But then I got to know him quite a bit better, actually, over the past 4 years. Did a bunch of shows with John and Lee Stranahan, and I came to feel that John was a thoughtful and intelligent guy who seem to be being honest and that there might be something else causing him to think the way that he thinks. So I don't know, maybe somebody told David and Barnes that I am not somebody that they should be speaking to, and perhaps the person who told them that was sufficiently important that they listened to them. I don't know. Happy to speak to those guys, and there could be a misunderstanding. The point I was getting at is, just because somebody says or does something that contradicts what you think is correct, I see a lot of people in the comments who will immediately jump on a person like that and say, oh, this person's a shill, this person's an agent or whatever. And then people will say, oh, Jason, you say everybody is a social engineer. That's not true. And by the way, if I do say a particular person is a social engineer, you can involuntarily do that. Social engineering, it's like a mind virus. So this looks a bit treacherous down there. We got a tent and a guy looking kind of angry. He probably doesn't want to be seen. But that's actually the first tent I've seen. And I haven't seen a lot of homeless people around at all. I mean, compared to New York, I don't know, maybe Detroit is safer. Nicer. The cops are friendlier. But sometimes people just become confused, and there's lots of reasons why they might believe something. I mean, think about the number of people that you know in your life who are convinced that Trump is whatever and Biden is something else. And you think to yourself, hey, I know this person. How the hell could they possibly think this? I don't want to get too lost in Detroit because I really have no idea where I'm going. And without Charles, I think we may have to come back to a lot of this later, but I just want people to keep an open mind. And you know, it's one thing when somebody's been socially engineering you for 5 years straight, when they do nothing all day. Is it buffering? Oh my. Yeah, people are putting some shocking things in there. I mean, it's one thing when somebody's been socially engineering you every day for 5 years, and when their idiot friends from Cape Cod decide they really do want to get sued. They can't leave well enough alone. They can't occupy their time with trying to cheat on their wife and all the stupid stuff they do with the Department of Defense selling fuel sensors. No, I don't work for the deep state. The Department of Defense is just my daddy's company's biggest client. And you wouldn't have a job if your father didn't own that company because you're an idiot. But, you know, keep doing what you're doing because I don't think you're going to like the final result. But, you know, these guys are social engineers. People who are clearly doing things, antagonizing you or whatever. Just because somebody doesn't want to discuss a lawsuit or not have me on their show, that doesn't make them a social engineer. They might not like the lawsuit. They might not like me. They might be friends with somebody who likes the lawsuit and doesn't like me. So wait, can we go into this? Maybe not. They probably don't want you videotaping stuff inside a church. But this is pretty interesting. Think about Detroit when there was nothing around here but this. And there are some, buildings used to be super spread out, right? Yeah, like see that one over there looks pretty old. Well, I would have gone on more of a exploration if Charles was on the video inset. Sorry that didn't work, everybody. It's, you know what, Charles got a new phone, and it's always a bad idea to, I'm sure it will work, it's just some little something about it that wasn't cooperating. But yeah, basically, we've got New York City falling apart, people attacking people in McDonald's with axes, and the Attorney General is suing Donald Trump. I'm not saying if Donald Trump is doing fraud, he should be let off, but how is that the most important crime happening in New York right now? There's something very wrong with the way Letitia James runs her Attorney General office. That guy seemed to be walking at me with purpose, but luckily he just having a day. Well, let's see what the comments are saying here. Again, I'm very wary of like walking off into someplace that I didn't know. Buffering is getting worse. Okay, so I think I'm going to wrap this up here. I have no idea what the mobile network is like. That shouldn't be buffering. It's showing full signal off and on. Oh, that's terrible. Buffering is getting worse. All right, we're going to leave it here. I will go chat with Charles and we'll fix this, but Mission Detroit over. Thanks for watching, everybody. Help me fight lawfare. Help me fight social engineers. Help the show keep going and bring interesting guests. Did people like that show with Bob Bishop and George Rodriguez? I thought that was an excellent show. Those guys are down there. Everybody sees what's going on. Yeah, see, here we're in Detroit. You got a lot of Hemis. What is going to happen to Detroit when you turn off V8 engines? Whoa, we are just so going in the wrong direction, everybody. Sorry about all the buffering. Kathleen says we are in a type of war and we cannot reveal everything to everyone. Yeah, it's hot today, that's true. I'm sweating, and we didn't have Charles. That was a bit of a disappointment at the outset. But thank you for tuning in, everybody. Thank you to all the sponsors who make this show possible. Have a great day, and I'm going to go try and follow up on some of these questions, everything from Putin to Boozy. But, you know, Boozy's going to get figured out, and he's got the wrong people, well, the right people from our point of view, but from his point of view, I think he just kicked over a hornet's nest that's going to sting him. I'd love to see that. Get some popcorn and sit back and watch. The guy's basically dug his own grave. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day. Peace out from Detroit, Motor City.